This podcast is a member of the Red 5 Network. For more Red 5 Network podcasts and content creators, visit bio.link/red5.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Oh,
Ooh.
what a nice explosion. How's it going, Spence?
Oh, what's going? I'm glad to finally be home after a long day.
Excellent. Excellent. It's always good to be home, and thank you for joining me again. We're at it again.
Absolutely.
Comic book classic reviews. And there you go. I had to pull mine out too, because this one I don't remember. I didn't remember too much, but we're doing Star Wars Vader Dark Visions series. And I'm having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
With these. One more to go, but tonight we're going to talk about issue number 4. And one thing that I've discovered really is that these covers are pretty wild. They're pretty wild. They're kind of symbolic to the nature of the story. And for something that's called Vader Dark Visions, Vader's not in a lot of the story, but as you mentioned, the essence of Vader is all over the story. So that's a cool thing, and it's something I definitely want to get into on this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's say hi to the chat. Let's say hello to the chat. Nicole is in here. Ubaldo, good to see you. Backyard TARDIS. Let's see. Isaac is in here. Thank you so much. Yeah, it looks like a nice little group. Let's see. I'm kind of excited to really dive into this one because, like I said, you said that you read it a couple of minutes ago too. I just finished. I just closed the back cover, and I actually don't remember this story. Maybe I do, but it's been a long time.
I certainly didn't remember it either. And then after I read it, I'm like, I realized why I didn't remember it.
So what does that mean? Does that mean that it was lackluster for you, or?
Yeah, I think so. I think easiest way to put it. Yeah. So
and it's interesting too, because this one really has some, I guess, deep and personal meaning to the main character, I guess, in the story. And all of the issues in the Dark Visions run. What's up, Rebel Nerd Radio? All the issues in this Vader Dark Visions run, they've got different characters. It's not kind of like, I guess you could treat it as an anthology series. None of the stories really are connected for the most part, but they're connected through, I guess, the essence of Darth Vader in such a unique way. Before we get into the story, I wanted to ask you, Spencer, I guess, do you think that this type of stories, or at least this series in particular, do you think it's doing Darth Vader justice? Do you think that this is kind of a very interesting way of introducing maybe the essence of a character through these stories? How do you perceive these stories as they relate to each other, and then maybe as a collective, as a whole?
I think I haven't read any. I don't think any of these portray Vader in a way that's made me think that's not Vader, and so I think I would say, even though as you mentioned earlier, that while you may not necessarily see Vader in a lot of them, or in a lot of it for each story, it very much each one definitely feels like Vader in it, and showing him in a different way. And so I think it's cool to add I don't think there's really any other stories like this in all of the like Star Wars pantheon of different stories and everything, where you really get to see Vader in a different light like this. Uh, with all these, like especially with like the first issue, like that first issue, I think is just really unique.
Yeah, I
Or
think
even
it definitely set the stage for what's to come.
absolutely, or even what we were just talking about last week. You know, like that's such a weird story to put, you know, to put it that I think we haven't gotten those anywhere else, and so it's
Yeah.
definitely interesting.
And that's cool that you said that, because I'm looking through a lot of some of the older issues and whatever.
Mhm.
Obviously, all of the Darth Vader run comic books have had pretty much a linear story,
Mhm.
from the beginning to the end. I remember both Charles Soule's Vader run. So they definitely follow a story linearly, and this just doesn't, which I'm kind of digging,
Mhm.
if I remember correctly. I think it's an interesting way of diving into how other characters perceive Darth Vader, and I
Yeah.
think they're doing it in such an interesting way. Story written by Dennis Hopeless Hallam. The art on this one, Stephen Mooney. And here's a question for you. We're 4 issues in, and I know we've talked about the art of these shows, of these programs before, in previous Scarif Lives. How do you rank this one with the other ones so far?
Uh, See this
Yeah,
one, like for me when I read a comic, because I feel like some people are like more based on the writing, some people are more based on like the
sure.
art that they see. For
Yeah.
me, anytime, kind of my way I approach it is, first time I read it, I'm always focused more on the story first. But anytime I like reread it, uh, especially a little bit after first reading it,
Hmm.
I'm more focused on the art of it.
Right.
And so, but this one's a really interesting case for me though, because the story in here might be, I found it on the weaker side of things, and
Okay.
but the art though is maybe some of my like might be some of my favorite art here. Like I feel like if this isn't my favorite art, it would be the first issue. And so,
Yeah, that's a great point. I think and for me, I was looking for my issue so I can read it a couple of days ago. I was looking through it, and I found some other comic books that I have kind of clumped in with this one. And I don't know if you saw, I had posted a couple of pictures of some
oh yeah,
of other comic books. And the one thing that really draws me to a comic book is you always say don't judge a book by its cover. I totally do that.
that's
I'll go to a comic book store and I'm like, oh, this is a great cover. Princess Leia looks fantastic,
mhm.
whatever. Darth Vader, great cover.
Well,
And then
this one,
I'll just pick it.
I mean, just this one where he's like holding a TIE fighter, or not TIE fighter. Oh my God, X-wing. It's long day, everybody. But you
Yeah.
know, that's I love that, and so it's such a great
Yeah.
image.
And like I said, I mean, if you guys in the chat ever come across some of these Dark Visions comics, I mean, they're worth picking up if you can find it as a. And I don't even know, do they have this collection as a single book?
They should. I'd be surprised if they didn't. I'll check on
Yeah,
that right now, though.
but yeah, if you guys come up on a sale or something, I think they're definitely worth the read. Just because of the uniqueness of the way they are portraying the story. Um,
Absolutely.
but I think I agree with you when it comes to the art on the inside. Um, Very well done. And I know,
So
yeah,
this one looks like it's sold out to buy as a trade, where it's all collected. However, there is a couple digital options reading it, as it is available on Kindle Unlimited, which is, you know, Amazon's digital book service I can subscribe to.
sure.
Where they actually, I just saw a shout out to Nicole, shared on the Red 5 Discord today, that for anybody that hasn't ever subscribed to it, you can get 3 months for a single dollar.
Whoa.
And so, yeah, yeah. So that's definitely worth checking out. Just from personal experience of looking in through there, they do have some solid comics just in general. It's like even if you're not a big novel fan, you can get into reading a good bit of. It's a fair selection for there for like what you're paying.
Yeah. And Steve from Rebel Nerd Radio just said it's available on Comixology. I thought Comixology was gone. No.
So Amazon owns Comixology, so like it's still a thing, but it's like merged with Amazon. So to my understanding as well, is all the Kindle Unlimited like comics, or all the comics that's on Kindle Unlimited is also on Comixology. And like it's just a portion of the Comixology library is on Kindle Unlimited, but then Comixology is like the one that you can buy for more comics and whatnot. And there's actually a lot of Star Wars stuff on there from what I've seen.
Cool.
So
I think that's where I started collecting the digital comics on Comixology. And then for some reason, I don't know why, the Marvel app, I had 2 accounts with 2 logins. And when I was, when we talked about first doing this, I logged in and I'm like, where the hell are all my comic books? I must have logged into the wrong account. I only had the first Dark Visions and then the rest of them were like gone. And I'm like, oh, crap. But thank goodness for the internet. I was able to grab some frames for our show on the internet. So excellent. All right. So, I'm really, like I said, I'm really enjoying the art in this particular issue. I'm going to go through and see where the story starts off. Obviously, just take a look at the art. Let's talk about the art for a second. It's very detailed, and I know the what was it, the crazy nurse issue?
Yeah.
What number was that? 3?
Yeah.
So the art in that was passable, I'd say, but it's not as detailed as this. I mean, there's obviously each artist has a different style. This one is a little bit more, I guess, realistic. The issue number 3 with the disturbed nurse was a little more, I don't know, surreal or comedic, almost cartoon like. And obviously, you guys remember how the nurse was portrayed wide-eyed and just kind of like, crazy looking.
Yeah.
But this one in particular, I mean, what do you think of the art style in this? I mean, I know we talked about it, but this looks really nice.
I love this. Like, just what you're showing right now is like my highlights with it, of especially up there with the stormtroopers and stuff on top there.
Yeah.
Just it's such a great like way to set the scene there, as that's on Coruscant. And I think that perfectly captures the lower levels in that, just in that first panel alone.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love the art in this one, especially when you get into like the space battles on a bit later as well. Like, it's just drawn so well.
Yeah, definitely. So a little recap on this frame here. Obviously, there's a man who's being held back by 2 stormtroopers. The eyes up above in that internal frame is a small boy, a small child that's looks like he's hiding somewhere. But turns out that he is the son of the individual that has been captured by the stormtroopers. They are runners, smugglers, and that's why they got stopped. What reminded me, what the little boy is, he looks like he's in a sewer or something, but he's got his sights on the troopers, and his dad is obviously being held captive, right?
Right. Being ready to get taken away, being caught with the illegal gun shipment.
Paraphernalia.
Yeah.
Let's see. Steve, I'm not sure that's the case. I think anyone can join the Red 5 Book Club Discord.
I can send you a link.
Yeah, absolutely. And I might join the book club next month when you start that new book, because I just picked it up.
I saw that. I need to get my copy still.
Yeah. All right. So obviously, there's trouble here. The authorities have captured this weapons runner. This little boy is, he's facing a tough decision. Obviously, his his job here was basically to take out the troopers and allow the father to get a clean escape. But unfortunately, as we see from this frame, that was not the result.
Right.
The father starts to run, and the little boy freezes, and the stormtroopers shoot the dad dead. Little boy cries, "I had the shot. I had the shot. I just couldn't do it." So that's that. And here's obviously he's the little boy is looking, he's crying, he's saying dad. Again, if you kind of look at the art again, it's the colors are pretty vibrant. The framing is explicit. What do you think of this?
No, 100% agree. Just great art to capture what's going on with the story. I definitely get like Jyn Erso vibes from this,
Okay, yeah.
Rogue One, being hiding away and all that.
Right.
What it reminded me of.
Yeah. It's funny because I like this harkens back to like 80s comic books,
Oh,
like
yeah.
Al Williamson or Simonson, with the the heavy colors and the gradiated backgrounds. But obviously it draws your eye and it tells you really what's going on. Little boy fails to shoot, and dad dies, and the stormtroopers are like, you could have come quietly, but now we have to drag your dead body. Not very nice.
To the morgue.
Yeah. So obviously this event was quite an event for this little boy to witness, and so then we get, did I put this in the wrong order? I probably did.
That's
fine. Let me see here.
I mean, this is a little bit. The only part you'd be skipping over is a prior.
Yeah.
Little...
So we're skipping ahead here. We're at a rebel base on Jamiri, rebel outpost. And
I was trying to remember, is Jamiri a place that we've seen or visited before at all?
That's a good question. It's funny because now when I said it out loud, it does sound kind of familiar, right?
Yeah, like it has a sense of familiarity, but then it's also a name I looked at. I'm like, I don't recognize that though.
Yeah. But these seems like they're new recruits or cadets or maybe X-wing pilots in training. They're getting kind of a little bit of an orientation, and one of them starts to really show off and really eager to get behind the controls of an X-wing for some reason.
Oh, well, apparently it's only appeared in this.
Oh, okay. Jamiri. Like I said, it did kind of sound familiar.
It's there's something about the name that sounds like I would have heard it before, but no.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And again, attention to detail, this cluster of X-wing pilots, I mean, they're really great. They're all they don't seem like they're cookie cutter. Each one is individually, has its individual characteristics. Even this guy here, looks like he's reacting to what this kid is saying. Oh, yeah. Cool, where to get my helmet? He's watching this more experienced swing, and this kid comes out of nowhere, and the reactions are great. What do you think of this pilot with the buzz cut and the rebel symbol in his head?
It's quite interesting. I don't know. I don't have too much to say about that specifically, but it fits, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
What I did find interesting though is seeing the rebels here have this whole sort of academy system.
Yeah.
That I don't feel like we've really seen, especially though too. It's like, well, when exactly would this be? Because this is very topical with what's about to come out next week, right? With having coming out, and we're getting to see like more specifically how it grows now that we've seen like the very beginning of it. And so like there's not a lot of years that this would necessarily fall place in, and they're now you're talking like, well, yeah, you'll be out in the field in 5 years,
right?
And so I just found that whole aspect very interesting because I don't feel like we've really seen like a academy sort of ish feel at all with the rebels like this.
Right. Yeah. So, you know, he tells them, we'll see you in 5 years. And the kid's like, 5 years? Get out of here. I think this is where he tells a commanding officer his experience with the troopers and his father, that he had a chance to kill those troopers and save his father, but he couldn't do it. Then we get some of the space battles that you mentioned earlier, and the X-Wings are on a mission. There are TIE fighters, obviously, but this is pretty cool. Why don't you explain a little bit of what the mission was here during some of this stuff here?
This was, I'm trying to remember exactly what their mission was here, but I just absolutely love that art there in the middle there, though. Like when I was saying earlier about like art with the space battles, that's one of the panels I remember most.
Yeah.
So absolutely love that. But I'm trying to remember exactly what this was. Did they say what it was?
I think their mission was to plant a tracker on a TIE fighter, so they could follow. Follow it back to the Imperial base.
Yeah, and that's what happens at the very beginning here. I'm trying to remember exactly why they wanted that, though. But
was there? I think there was a specific character that they needed to. There's an Imperial minister that they needed to get, I think.
Right. Well, yeah, I remember there's a minister there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they explicitly really said in this. I'm double checking though.
And really, I think for the purposes of the story, it's probably a detail that's not super important. You know?
Right. It seems like they're just trying to stop that factory from going up and running, is what it seems like.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's kind of a basic idea.
And I think the factory was in charge of making advanced ties, and that's why we later on we see that Vader is there, because one of his officers is telling him, how's it going? Are you satisfied? One of them says, Lord Vader arrived this morning to oversee the upgrades to his TIE fighter, and they meet him. Vader's on this base. But then, all of a sudden, obviously, these TIE fighters were tracked back to this Imperial base, and Vader senses that and says, "You idiots! They tracked you back here. You were played for a fool." Yeah. So obviously, Vader gets in his trusty TIE fighter, and some more battles ensue. And again, the art pretty wicked.
Oh yeah,
colors are bright, but this is fascinating. You hardly ever see Darth Vader and his advanced TIE fighter being chased by the rebels, but in this case, obviously, he's outnumbered, but it is Darth Vader. You can see that he's doing some acrobatics there during the space battle, and he's kind of making banthu out of these X-Wings.
Yeah, absolutely. And even interesting as well that you see him hit there as well, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, and I think maybe Vader does that to kind of lull the enemy into a sense of security, so they get a little sloppy. That's definitely what happened with this character, because I don't know if I put it in there, but the next frame he explodes.
Right.
Oh, there he is.
There it is. Speaking of,
but yeah, they're trying to strategize and trying to lure Vader's TIE fighter into a certain spot that they can get him, but unfortunately, Vader got him first. Commander Radley is no more.
Yeah. And a little detail in this that I found kind of interesting is they mentioned at the very beginning of this issue, like specifically that like them having their call signs on the ground is important. But then you never actually see them being used up in these battles.
Right.
And this was the part where, well, I don't think, I mean, yes, it would make sense to specifically say their name, but it was like, it kind of stood out to me. They're like, oh no, we didn't lose red, whatever, or
Yeah.
yellow or whatever, whatever their sign is. We don't know.
Well, isn't it interesting because when the cadets are talking, one of the things that they mention earlier in the story was how important communication and collaboration are.
Yeah.
And then they end up not doing that.
Right.
So I don't know if that was deliberate or
I could see that being deliberate. Yeah.
yeah, or a happy accident, but obviously, Vader has taken control of the situation, as we can see here, which is pretty cool. Oh geez, I couldn't, you know what, I was rushing through and I couldn't find the last frame, but obviously let's get into, obviously, this pilot is the same character as a little boy who saw his father being killed by stormtroopers. He's obviously trying to get some sort of revenge for that killing, and hopping in the cockpit of an X-wing gives him the ability to go after the Empire and try to exact some sort of revenge internally for the death of his father. Vader, like I said, is making a mockery of the X-wings and the rebels. But it's interesting too because what else happens that I didn't get? Vader obviously destroys most of the X-wings. The X-wing of this particular pilot goes back to Jamari, and he basically throws up.
It's important to notice too that he had Vader in his sights as well.
Yes,
but hesitated, very much like the beginning flashback opening scene.
And let's see here. I'm going to stop sharing since this is the last frame, but I wanted to put up this frame, and I think this pretty much says it all. You guys, you mentioned that the battle comes back to the rebel base, and that's kind of spectacular. And
it really is.
The kid is watching, and everybody's mobilizing, and there's Darth Vader coming by. And that last frame is basically, I mean, I can see, like, if this were like a little short story, like a movie or something, that would have been great. You see Darth Vader, half of Darth Vader and half of the character's face, the end. And what does he say?
I just couldn't.
I had the shot. I had it. I just couldn't. And obviously very similar to what he experienced when he tried to kill the stormtroopers when his father was killed by the troopers. So interesting story. Again, Darth Vader doesn't really pop up as much, but he's definitely a presence in these stories, and I think that's pretty cool. And again, this one was a simple story. It followed, it did something I think that some of the other ones didn't. It had a couple of flashbacks, so the storytelling was like a little bit over here, a little bit to the future, a little bit now. That gives you a sense of where this character is from, experiencing his father's death to trying to kill Darth Vader and just not being able to because of the panic. So you mentioned that you weren't too crazy about this story. Do you feel differently now, or are you still like?
I mean, maybe a little bit on it, but the thing for me is that it's just overall, I feel like this is a story we've just already seen, where the other ones provided a sense of uniqueness. And I think that's the reason why. Like, I feel like we've seen the same plot to a degree in other Vader comics. And so that's why it's like, it's just that kind of story just told in a different way, I guess you could say. And so I think that's what it was for me, is it was just like, we've seen Vader go after all these different places in this way. And we've seen so many other people try to take on Vader in this same way and not be able to. And so it just felt like another story that we've already seen and pretty much before to me.
Yeah, and it's funny because this story is a little reminiscent to the second issue, except the second issue, it was the Imperial officer that was affected
Right.
by Vader's presence. This one is the Rebel officer,
Right.
and the nuances are slightly different, but they are, in my mind, they're a little bit interconnected. Obviously 3 with the crazy nurse is like way out there and it's not really connected at all. But
Right.
this one gets back to some really cool action, some really great character moments for not really for Vader, because Vader is I think Vader has been pretty consistent as a character throughout all the issues here. What do you think?
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is for this one, I didn't really feel like Vader had that huge of a presence. Like
Mm-hmm.
the character wasn't driven by Vader, unlike all the other characters or main characters, until at the end when you just saw Vader there in like I guess what you'd say is like the third act of this issue.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It just, that was another thing for me too, is Vader just wasn't really integrated in the story. I felt like the same way that the others were, because he was kind of just Vader was kind of just there.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like it would have been different, the impact of the audience and the character, if instead of stormtroopers killing this kid's father, it was actually Vader?
I would think so, because then you'd have a sense of
Purpose?
purpose. Yeah, like that sort of, that same idea of as we were just talking about with issue 2 with the Imperial officer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like all of his actions in that was because of him wanting to, because of Vader, right? Because of not wanting to be on his bad side. For here it's just the Empire, where I mean, obviously it all leads back to Vader because he's the second in command there, but it's you don't get that personal sense of Vader like with all the other issues, I think.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. Yeah, I do feel like Vader just kind of came out of nowhere. He's obviously, the main character is looking for vengeance. Vader obviously represents the Empire, but Vader's not the one that killed him. I think the story would have been tied up a little bit neater if somehow Vader was directly responsible with the death of his father. And obviously, I can't remember if it was a comic book or another show, but I can't remember. Vader tells, I think it was Rebels. Vader tells Ezra that he's killed many fathers, so he would have to narrow it down. Or am I remembering like another franchise? It sounds like something else.
Trying to, I don't,
This
that doesn't come to me right off the bat.
Yeah.
Let us know, chat, if that sounds familiar at all.
Yeah. Cool beans. Again, I think, if I might be in the same camp as you. I think if the tables were turned, I think if the art was less than stellar, I probably wouldn't like this issue as much. Nick has an interesting comment here. Vader shouldn't feel like a background character in his own comic book. It's interesting because I think he has been a background comic character in all of this, but I think what sets this apart is the effect that the character of Darth Vader has on the rest of the characters in the comic book. And I think this really is a unique way of showing that.
Right. Right. I mean, it's kind of the same idea of like Vader in A New Hope, right? Like, even though he like, isn't it like what, 12 minutes or something? Like he's barely on screen.
Right.
And so it's that same idea where his presence needs to be felt the entire time. And you do feel that in A New Hope, right? It literally, the movie literally opens with him kicking ass. And so,
yeah.
And you feel that throughout the whole thing. And I feel like we did get that with each of these issues up until this one, of Vader always being there, except for maybe the first page or two introducing the main character.
Right. But yeah, again, next week we'll do the final issue, number 5, Dark Visions number 5. And again, besides the first 2, maybe 3, I didn't remember 4. I definitely don't remember 5. I mean, I'm looking at the cover now. I don't remember any of the story of 5. So
I remember 5 being unique.
Yeah.
I just remember like one thing from it, and so
That's
we'll see
funny.
what happens.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Any other final things regarding Dark Visions number 4? And like I said, I mean, if anything, the covers are really unique. The covers are pretty awesome. Bagged and backed, baby. But let's take it out one more time. Dark Visions number 4.
Such a great
And,
cover.
such a great cover. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, the art in this is really what makes it stands up, and even elevate it, I think, to a degree as well. Like
Yeah.
even though I'm here, like yeah, like the story didn't blow me away. Like it's not to say it's a bad story; it's just one that doesn't necessarily stand out to me. But I think the art in this case does help it stand out a little bit, just because you're looking at beautifully drawn frames there.
I would definitely agree.
The coloring as well, like that really helps as well. I don't know if they shouted out specifically who worked on that there, but they both deserve. Stephen Mooney did the art, and Lee Lowridge did the coloring.
Yeah,
great work there.
Excellent. All right. So that is our discussion on Vader Dark Visions number 4. Spencer, thank you very much for joining me tonight. And big thanks to the chat for hanging out with us too. They're talking about chickens and things like that. I don't know what the hell they're talking about in the chat. The chat is always a show on their own.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email us. We also have a Scarif Scuttlebutt hotline at 773-234-8659. We'd love to hear what you have to say about Dark Visions. This is show number 4. Next week we're coming back. Do we do this time, or do we want to go back to the 7 o'clock? 8 o'clock is fine to me.
I mean, either works for me. So.
Okay, sounds good. Dark Visions, Marvel Comics, issue number 4 next week. That'll be the final one. If we think of something else to review, we'll definitely get back to you guys. But lots is happening in May. Not only here at the Scarif podcast, but we've got Andor next week. We've got Star Wars Celebration. We've got all sorts of shows that are happening. So this is a good time to be a Star Wars nerd. Again, thank everybody in the chat. We had Danny coming in towards the end there, Backyard TARDIS. Follow him. Nicholas Schaefer, one of our most ardent supporters here at the Red 5 Network, and a member as well. Ubaldo, Nicole, Isaac. Let's see who else is Steve, Rebel Nerd Radio, Jesse, Crusher Convo, their white meat. She's into Star Trek.
Nice.
And yes, say Isaac. I did say Isaac.
Oh, Nicole mentioned something there. Free Comic Book Day is on May 3rd.
Oh, that's coming up pretty soon. Nicole, we gotta get together, because I think that coincides with my vacation. We should do a little something.
Oh,
yeah, my second vacation that hopefully I don't screw up this time again. Free Comic Book Day, May 3rd. Excellent. That's awesome.
You can view all their offerings at I don't remember their site right now. It's something basic. It's probably freecomicbookday.com. But you can view all of what they have. They actually have a lot of good stuff this year that I'm looking forward to.
Excellent. Yes, and I went to a bookstore today to pick up a book for Brad and myself. But it's nice to hang out at bookstores and comic book stores every so often. Our local one here is we got a couple of local ones. Alley Cat Comics in Andersonville in Chicago. We've got Graham Cracker Comics. We've got Taylor Street Comics on the south side. We got wonderful comic book stores all over the place. Please support your comic books when you're when you got a little extra scratch. Head on over and just say hello to your local comics,
or be like me and spend too much at them. So
I remember those days. Excellent. Spencer, what do you have coming up?
Well, usually I have my Comic Den podcast on Sundays, but given this Sunday is Easter Sunday on 420,
Oh, that's right.
We are skipping this Sunday. But the week after, we will be back with a Thunderbolts episode.
Nice.
So, good timing with that little movie coming out.
Perfect. I got my tickets.
Looking forward to it. So.
Excellent. Yeah, sounds good. All right, Spencer, thank you so much, and folks in the chat, that'll do it for our comic review, Marvel Comics issue number 4 of Vader: Dark Visions. Like I said, we'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Shoot us an email if you want to, over at scarifscuttlebutt@gmail.com. But remember, we are part of the Red 5 Network. For more Red 5 Network shenanigans, head on over to bio.link/Red5 and check out the rest of the Red 5 Network peeps over there. And yeah, excellent. All right, Spencer, talk to you guys soon, and may the force be with you. Remember, it's always sunny on Scarif, and that's the Scuttlebutt. Peace out.